friends that only listen to audiobooks, so I thought it would be interesting to explore for indie authors if audiobooks are worthwhile. Going into this, I actually didn't know a lot about audiobooks or how they're created, so it was really fun for me to do the research. I'm going to break this video down into 4 sections: why you should do audiobooks, how to do the audiobooks, some considerations, and then my plan. So just like my friends, some people only listen to audiobooks. So by creating an audiobook, you'll have a wider audience. One of the authors that I found claimed to make about 12 to 20% of their revenue per month from their audiobooks, though other sources said that it's typically 10%. Having an audiobook can help you generate content as well. For instance, you could do little tidbits about the audiobook process. You can highlight the narrators. You could even put little audio snippets of the audiobook. Outside of that, some of the narrators that you work with can actually help market your book by making videos of their recording sessions, going live, and otherwise posting about the project. You can also self-publish or do the audiobook yourself, which will give you the opportunity to tell the story in the inflections and the way that you wanted to write the story instead of leaving it up for the reader. There's also a certain notoriety or prestige that comes with having an audiobook. I didn't personally understand this one, but it's something that I found in my research. And the last one that I think is really notable: if you are writing a series, the audiobook can help the reader or audiobook listener get hooked on the series and get excited for your next book. There's 4 options that I found. 3 of them are very similar. First one is you can do the professional route where you get a professional narrator. Typically that would include the recording costs, your editor, putting it all together, and then the publicist to get it out there. You could also work with an independent audiobook studio, and generally they'll give you more flexibility on how hands-on or hands-off you want to be. However, this doesn't typically involve help with distribution. You can also do the Audible content exchange. From my understanding, this program is where you sign up, put your book out there, and then a narrator can sign up to do it. It would be at no cost to you, but you would have to split the royalties, typically 50-50, with the narrator. That's my understanding of it, and I'll touch on Audible a little bit later, but that is an option. The last option is to create it yourself. If you do decide to go down this route, there's quite a few things that you need to consider. So the first thing is if you're going to do it at a studio or where you're going to record the audiobook. The next thing to consider is how long it will take to record it, because that will determine how long you need to rent the studio out and determine how long the editor is going to be working on it, and any of those other costs or things that will be impacted by the length of the recording. Keep in mind that just because the end recording of an audiobook is 10 hours, that doesn't mean that that's the amount it took you to record it. Likely you'll probably take twice as much time in the studio. You'll also want to consider if you want to have an audio engineer on site to smooth out the recording as you're going through, and then you'll need to consider hiring an editor to actually put everything together at the end. Now, when I heard all of these steps, I didn't realize how much cost is involved in making an audiobook. I think it's really important as an indie author to consider if that's something that you're able to afford at the time, and if it even makes sense as an investment. So now you have your audiobook recorded, it's ready to go. Now you have to figure out where you want to distribute it. When you are considering this, I think it's really important to keep in mind what type of contracts are involved. Like, for instance, some agreements are exclusive to one platform where you cannot post it or publish it anywhere else. So you just want to be careful and do some research before you commit to one. After you do have it posted, there's a few things that audiobooks allow you to do with marketing that is similar to ebooks or to print copies, but a little bit different. For instance, you can give out some free downloads to get the ball rolling of people listening to your story. I did find that Audible gives 25 free credits if you publish through Audible. There are also specific newsletters and emails that are dedicated to audiobooks and new audiobooks coming out, so you could get onto one of those lists. Similar to what I said earlier, you can use snippets from your audiobook to help with marketing. There are some things I wanted to point out that I've kind of alluded to throughout this video. The first thing is Audible. From what I understand, Audible takes 75% of the revenue from your audiobook, which to me seems like a very large chunk. And if you're using the Audible Content Exchange, that's another 50% that gets taken by somebody else. At least that's my understanding of it. Also, from what I read, it doesn't look like Audible allows you to set the price. It looks like they set the price for you. So from my research, it looks like it would take about $2,000 to $4,000 US to get the audiobook narrated and edited. That doesn't include any side costs, sound engineering, formatting, marketing, advertising, etc. From what I read, it seems like it's highly unlikely for an indie author to be able to make back the money that they invest into an audiobook. Most of the sources seem to agree that making an audiobook is for the long term and not for short-term revenue. So all that said, what are my plans? As many of you know, I'm just starting draft 2 of my NaNoWriMo book, so I'm quite a bit away from really thinking about audiobooks and how I'm going to do it. But the more I think about it, the less I feel inclined to do it myself. I feel like I do have, a microphone and I have some software at home that realistically I probably could make an audiobook, but I think the question would be about quality and also maybe a little bit about my fortitude. I think I would rather leave that up to a professional who knows what they're doing and understands how to inflect their voice and read a sentence in a way that's engaging. I also feel like if I'm going to be investing money anyways into studio time, equipment, editors, sound engineers, then why not also invest in a narrator who's going to do my story justice? So that's kind of what I'm leaning to. If I'm going to make an audiobook, which is a big if right now, since I am an aspiring author, I don't exactly have a massive budget to make this audiobook. In the event that I did have money, I would go the professional route for sure. So long story short, I would likely pass on making an audiobook for now until I did have the funds or resources to do it professionally. So that's my take on audiobooks. I had a fun time researching it and getting myself more familiar with the concepts and the process. I'd love to know below if you're doing an audiobook, if you're recording it yourself, or if you're hiring someone, and if you did do the Audible Content Exchange, what your experience was with that. Otherwise, I appreciate you and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.